like the idea that a voice can just go somewhere
uninvited, like a dirty thought in a nice clean mind.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jay. This is the Liberal Lens. Today, let's talk about Trump's reversal on the Epstein files and why he is telling House Republicans to now vote for the release. All right, so you all know that there's the leaks coming from the emails that were given to us by the Epstein estate and then released by the Democrat House Oversight Committee. The Republicans, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Donald Trump, and Mega Mike Johnson, and all these other Republicans have been covering up the Epstein files, even though they all got their jobs because Trump got elected on the fact that they were going to release the files. Kash Patel was saying that the FBI had all the files until he was in the head of the FBI, and then they disappeared. They were at Pam Bondi's desk, and then they disappeared. And Trump keeps calling it a Democrat hoax. Well, if it's a hoax and the files don't exist, then how is Trump now telling the DOJ to investigate Bill Clinton, JP Morgan, Chase? I'm not sure if they're going to investigate a bank or a dead guy. I'm not even sure what Trump was getting at with that. But let's talk about what's going on and why Trump now wants the Republicans in the House to vote to release the files. Well, first, he is losing the battle. He's used to controlling the narrative, and now that he can't control the narrative, he doesn't know what to do. The White House is spinning, and we know that there is no way Trump is ever going to let these files get released if he can stop it. So let's dive into why he reversed course and is now telling Republicans to vote for this bill. So at first, we're sure, 100% sure the plan was to let it get voted through the House, have the Senate shit on it, Trump safe. There is so much pressure building because House Republicans are flooding over to vote for this bill. We'll see how high it gets, but they're talking 40 to 50 Republicans voting yes on this bill tomorrow. We'll see if we get there. If you get to 290, that would be great. And we'll get to why that's important in a minute. But he was hoping that the Senate Republicans would not let this pass because 13 Senate Republicans are needed to vote for this to pass, to go onto Trump's desk, which we all thought even if it went through, he would veto it. But the plan has changed because he's lost the narrative here. He can't control the narrative anymore. Too many of his own base have came out against him. He's in a civil war with Marjorie Taylor Greene right now over the Epstein files. And she's being threatened, which nobody should be threatened politically. But this is the same kind of stuff that she was getting behind and helping Trump do to Democrats. I will give her credit for coming out saying she was wrong, that she was misguided. She's sorry for her mistakes. If this is genuine, we can accept that somebody was wrong and apologize. That doesn't mean I'm going to vote for her. That doesn't mean I like her. But right now we're fighting the same fight with the Epstein files. And I don't care if hers is personal political game, if hers is a game of just trying to be more moderate to run for something else. We know that the healthcare subsidies she came around on because it affects her children. I don't care why Marjorie Taylor Greene is on the team right now. I just want more Republicans to join the team to help this fight, to get Americans health care and to release these files. There's no reason we should be protecting pedophiles. This is wild that we're even in this debate right now. And it's so crazy that there are so many MAGA supporters who will come up with crazy reasons why Trump's not in the files, why they haven't released them, why that we're all just a liberal hoax because Biden didn't release the files. When we have a bunch of uneducated MAGA. And I'm not going to go through this point by point because I went through it in other videos and I've made posts about this on why it wasn't released under Biden and why we on the left don't give a fuck. If Bill Clinton goes to prison, if he did something to children, we don't give a fuck. Lock him the fuck up. We'll say it quick as fuck. Anybody in those files needs to go to prison. But the reason Trump has switched his course right now and did a total reversal, if you remember, just a couple days ago, Trump got all pissed off, hit Truth Social and was like, I'm reaching out to Pam Bondi to have her investigate JP Morgan Chase and Bill Clinton and so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. Yes, investigate them all. If they are in those files, arrest them. But here's the problem. As soon as Pam Bondi opens that investigation, now Trump's going to turn and say, oh, I wanted to release the files, but I can't. It's an ongoing investigation and there's nothing we can do. So he's turning around, trying to flip the narrative because, again, he believes Americans are so fucking stupid that he can do whatever he wants. And none of us are stupid enough to see the forest through the trees because he's so used to talk to his base who will just accept anything that's said by him in Fox News. And we're at a point now where some of them are pushing back. So you can tell that the White House is scrambling, trying to get a hold of this narrative again. So Trump isn't telling Pam Bondi to investigate Bill Clinton, JP Morgan Chase, whoever, because he wants an investigation opened back up because they won't be able to release the files if they're part of an ongoing investigation, which is the investigation that Kash Patel ended, by the way. But now he wants a new investigation because he doesn't want these files out because we've already seen a little trickle of what's in these files. We've already seen that Trump spent Thanksgiving at Epstein's house in 2017 while he was president. We already seen the emails from Epstein where Epstein talks about, of course, Trump knows about the girls, where he talks about Trump spending time at his apartment with a minor, where he talks about that he has enough blackmail evidence on Trump to take Trump down. We've seen all of these emails. We've seen the email where Trump may have blown Bubba, but that's neither here nor there. And I did see something on the internet, which I totally hope is true, but I have no idea. There is now people saying that there's a release, which I haven't seen, that Trump's a bottom. God, do I hope that's true. Just because all the attack on the LGBTQ community that he's done over the years, it would just be so great if all of his supporters found out that Trump was a bottom. All right. Anyway, the reason why Trump wants these investigations to go on, like we said, is so that he can say, oh, I want to release them, but I can't. And that's why Trump went from this is a hoax to bringing in congresswomen and men to talk to them about not signing the petition, doing everything he can to make sure that petition does not hit 218 signatures, which it did, which forces the vote, which is why Mega Mike Johnson's just putting this vote out tomorrow. It's also why Mike Johnson flipped his stance when he was like, this is all bullshit. We don't want to waste time with these files. There's nothing in them. And now all of a sudden he's like, I always was for transparency. I wanted everybody to see the files. We were just worried about protecting the victims. No, you weren't. There was already protections in the bill for the victims. If that was really the case, you would have just brought it to the floor. You would have voted on it, and we wouldn't even be standing here. And we wouldn't have had to wait 50 days for you to swear in a congresswoman who was elected in Arizona, but you wanted to do everything you can to stop these files from being released. But now that you see it's inevitable, you guys are all changing your stance. And it's because you don't want to be on the wrong side of history on this. You don't want to be the politician who voted to protect a pedophile and then still get the files released. And that's why they're talking about 40 to 50 Republicans that are going to come over and vote yes to release the files. Now, I hit the number 290 earlier and why that's important. So if somehow the House can hit 290 and the Senate can hit 67 votes, that's a major majority and they can make it veto proof. The Trump administration could not veto the bill if they got 2/3 of the House and 2/3 of the Senate to vote for this. It makes it veto proof. I don't think we'll get there. I really don't. I hope we do. I hope something surprises me and we get to 290 and 67. But I don't think it's going to matter anyway at this point. Like we just talked about, Trump's doing everything he can. So they talk with Pam Bondi. They find a legal loophole. Let's reopen the investigation. And then we can use that as an excuse to protect the world's biggest pederast. And yes, I know it's not a word, but it fits. You know what I'm talking about. And it won't get me ripped down from YouTube and Meta. So they're trying to protect the world's biggest pederast in Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein by covering up these files. And I'm sure there's a lot of their donors in there and people they're close to. I also am sure there's a lot of Democratic donors in there and people the Democrats are close to. I'm sure it's just a bunch of powerful people. But we already know from Pam Bondi that Trump's name is all over this. This has been leaked forever, that she went to Trump and was like, hey, homie, your name is all over these files, which we're already seeing from the leaked emails. So then Trump's like, fuck that, we can't release the files. And then all of a sudden the files don't exist. And they keep doing anything they can to like fucking gaslight us into believing that the Epstein files don't exist and it's a big Democratic hoax. Here's the thing. I don't give a fuck who's in the files. I don't think most of you give a fuck who's in the files. We want them held accountable. We don't give a fuck if they're on the right. We don't give a fuck on the left. We don't give a fuck if they're rich. We don't give a fuck if they're poor. We don't give a fuck if they're white. We don't give a fuck if they're black. We don't give a fuck. If you're in the files, you need to be held accountable. If you violated women and children, you need to be held accountable. Okay. The fact is, it is crazy to me that people will go as far as they are to cover this up, which makes me start to wonder, like, why is Mike Johnson going so far to cover this up? And I'm not saying he's in the files, but it has to make you start to wonder, like, why is he carrying Trump's water like this? Because Mike Johnson's going to get reelected in his district with or without Trump. So is it that you're just afraid that Daddy Trump attacks you and is always coming at you and then tries to get the Republicans to take your power away and vote you out as speaker? Maybe. But it does raise questions. No matter what the answer is, it raises questions on why Mike Johnson is going to the lengths he was going to make sure the files don't come out. And now all of a sudden he wants to be on the right side of history. So he's like, no, it was about the victims. I want to protect the victims. Everybody wanted to protect the victims. Like I said, it was in the bill. The Democrats wanted to protect the victims. Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to protect the victims. This was never about exposing the victims. This was about getting justice for the victims, which the Trump administration will do anything they can to make sure it doesn't happen because Trump is in them. But don't let this flip where Trump is now saying that they should vote for him make you think that all of a sudden he had this come to Jesus moment where he wants all of this transparency and that he wants everybody in the files to be punished, because he doesn't. He's in the files. But he now knows he has another way of stopping these files by opening an investigation, so he can try to gaslight the American people into believing that he is all for transparency and wants the files released. All right. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think about the Trump administration's newest maneuver to try to keep the Epstein files out of the public view. Let me know what you think of Mike Johnson flipping his side too. Now all of a sudden he's all for. Let's see how he votes on this. Let's see how many Republicans come over to vote. The more Republicans in the House that come over to vote puts more pressure on the Senate Republicans to vote yes, and then it puts Trump in a fucked up situation to either veto it or bury himself. All right, we're in a wild situation right now, and we just got to keep fighting, because we're showing right now that the more we fight, the more politicians we get on our side, and the easier it becomes to fight against this fascist regime. So make sure you keep fighting the good fight. Make sure you keep spreading all the information you can so that the moderates out there, or the undecided, the independents, if there still is any, can see what's going on, because there's a certain group of MAGA we're never going to reach. They're never going to believe the truth. But if we can get all of those other people in the middle, and the people who have been felt like they've been lied to, and the people who felt misled by Trump, we'll never have to worry about this regime having this much power after the midterms. We need to get out there and make sure there is a blue wave so that we can neutralize the White House's power. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. One world, one love. Deuces.
Everything's polluted. The environment, the government, the schools, you name it.
This radio person is the whole problem. Are we going to allow this guy to be heard by anyone who can turn a dial?
You out there? You listening?